From a $10 jersey that ruined a legend's career, to a $4 million jersey that set a world record, and jerseys of every other price in between. What NFL players wore in this video are only gonna get more expensive as we move on. Starting with Aaron Rodgers, his jersey wasn't just the cheapest in this video, it was cursed. Rodgers was about to debut his new jersey with his new team, and being in New York on September 11th, obviously this was already an emotional night. But this time, fans were excited for once, seeing Rodgers in his new colors for the first time. Until just 4 plays into the game, Rodgers went down after suffering one of the scariest injuries in sports, a torn Achilles. And not only was he taken out, his season was already finished. Man, now with months of recovery ahead, Rodgers eventually returned to football for the next season where he finally got to wear his Jets jerseys again. But he ended up having one of the worst seasons of his entire career. So the Jets kicked Rodgers off the team by releasing it, sent his value crashing down, and that's why all 3 colors of his different Jets jerseys that fans could buy went on sale at a discount of only $10 each, because he had no choice but to switch teams and wear a completely different jersey moving forward. Man, poor Rodgers. But when it comes to jerseys worth even more, one NFL player's jersey got turned into a chain, another player's jersey got put into a football card that set a world record, there was even a jersey that turned into a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, and so many more. But before we get to those, Puka Nacua's jersey pissed all of his fans off. RIP to my 17 jersey, and no, I want my money back, were just some of the things that fans said about Puka's jersey. Cause even though 17 is the number Puka wore on it during his rookie season where he pretty much began dominating the entire NFL with the Rams, this led to plenty of his new fans buying and wearing his jersey. But not long after, Puka's team dropped a hype video where they revealed that he changed his jersey number to 12. Now, okay, something innocent like that didn't seem like a big deal until you realize that all of his new fans' jerseys that they literally just bought were already outdated. Now, all of Puka's old jerseys became pretty much worthless, and the price dropped on all stores to just $30, so Rams fans were pissed. Fuck! Now, let's be honest, I could see that happening, but I never, ever thought an NFL jersey would become worth nearly 20 times as much. 'Cause of Taylor Swift? Well, alright, once her and Travis Kelce got together, their relationship pretty much took over the NFL and wasn't just talked about on sports shows more than the actual sport. Taylor showed up to Travis's games wearing his jersey, and one old head even thought Travis would try harder during games just to impress her.
It looks to me like, in a very good way, that Travis is showing off for Taylor, and I don't blame him at all because she's a big deal, and she's here. She came to see me, and I'm going to rise and shine.
Alright, at this point, nobody thought what they did together could get any crazier, but that's when the Chiefs decided to sell one of the most unique jerseys ever. On it was Taylor Swift's last name, combined with Kelce, to say Swelsey, and even sign the jersey. Now, alright, even though there's nobody I know who would want to buy that,
Nope.
A Swiftie did, and bought it for $530. Ridiculous. But that wasn't as expensive as an NFL Legends jersey that got him fined 10 times as much, after he illegally changed his identity. Chad Johnson is the name to remember, and so is the number 85 that he wore on his Bengals jersey while becoming one of the best players and biggest personalities that the NFL had ever seen. Until acting like a class clown eventually led him to a crazy idea for his jersey, because before a game in September, it happened to be Spanish Heritage Month. So Johnson changed his name to the Spanish translation of his jersey number. Or at least that's what he thought he did, because even though 85 is 85 in Spanish, he opted for 85, which means 85, but that's besides the point. Big Johnson came out for warm-ups with 85 written across his back and wanted to be called that, until his teammate ripped his fake-ass Velcro name tag right off the jersey, because he knew changing his name went against NFL rules.
So the game ends. The next morning, I get a fine from the NFL. I'm like, it says altering the NFL uniform. And then I appealed it. They didn't give me the appeal. So what I did was I waited till the end of the season and I went to court. I changed my name for real to force the NFL to put it on all my jerseys.
And made some money off that too.
It's like I'm not trying to curse. It was like an F you to them just for being mean.
Alright, man's really went out and legally changed his name just to troll the NFL, all because his jersey got him fined $5,000? Now, alright, as crazy as that seems, no NFL player's jersey became as icy as Micah Parsons' jersey. Because of what he's always wearing on the field, He eventually turned it into diamonds. On a shiny chain is a pennant of his jersey. It's also got details to match his team's color, number, and every other part of the jersey has diamonds all over it. This thing went so viral that Shop GLD dropped fake versions of Micah's chain for fans to buy, but those had nothing on his real jersey chain worth $50,000. Damn, thing is something I thought only a rapper would wear. And speaking of rappers, Joe Burrow's even more expensive jersey was something he gifted to his favorite rapper. Joe came out in his team's white jersey when he was about to play in his first AFC championship game ever. And the jersey didn't just help Joe throw one long touchdown or throw another before getting a 2-point conversion to tie the game.
Taylor, this game is tied.
He eventually led his squad to an overtime comeback win against the ref's favorite team.
Cincinnati is heading to the Super Bowl.
Accomplishing that finally got him noticed by his favorite rapper, Kid Cudi.
You know, one of my idols growing up, Kid Cudi, reached out to me yesterday.
You got a favorite Cudi track, just out of curiosity?
So I listen to New York City Rage Fest every game day, right before I go out. Man on the Moon. I like all of his stuff.
And after Joe admitted how much he loved him, Cudi didn't just notice what Joe said. He posted a pic of Joe's jersey from the game, which still had the stains all over it, and was signed.
Me up after the game, he's like, let me get the jersey. First thing I did, went to our EQ guys, hey, you gotta send it to him right now.
I still haven't framed it because I'm like torn between like, do I wear it again? Or, because once it's in the frame, man, it's in the frame forever. So.
They became so close after that moment that Cudi even wore the jersey during one of his concerts where he brought Joe on stage. Now, to me, I think he needs to repay Joe a little more than that, because the jersey that Joe gave him was evaluated by experts and is approximately worth $100,000. And if any of y'all want a dirty NFL jersey like that for way cheaper, I could just give you one out of my dirty laundry. But when it comes to Patrick Mahomes, it shouldn't even be a surprise that one of his jerseys wasn't just worth more, it set a record. Of course, something Mahomes wore against his rivals became historic. He knew the Raiders were always trolling him in his voice, or would play dirty trying to get under his skin.
Yeah, during this game, I was messing with him a little bit, pushing him on the shoulder, like just trying to mess with him to see how he would react, and he started getting irritated.
So after all of that, when Mahomes matched up against them again while wearing his red jersey, well, the Raiders came out on fire, scoring 3 times and started blowing the Chiefs' backs out again, so players kept taunting Mahomes, which eventually turned into a big mistake. Because now Mahomes was fired up, and he threw not 1, not 2, not even 3, but 4 touchdowns. And since that was historic, on top of Mahomes leading to a huge comeback win, the jersey he wore during the game went to auction where 32 Glazers battled over making bids, and that ran up the price so high, at the time, it eventually set a record for being the most expensive Mahomes jersey ever sold at $213K. Oh my God. But that's still 20 times cheaper than another Mahomes jersey we'll get to in a bit. And before we go that deep, we gotta see the NFL player's jersey that only became valuable because he died. I was watching this Bills game live, and honestly, I never knew who Damar Hamlin was or what jersey or number he even wore until right here when he made a tackle, stood back up, then collapsed back on the ground. Nobody knew what was really going on, but the medical staff rushed over to start working on him. So here's where the condition began seeming so serious that the game was delayed, the crowd went silent, and as Damar was eventually put onto an ambulance and escorted out of the stadium, the entire game ended early. Damar had just suffered cardiac arrest, causing his heart to stop, and at first, he was actually pronounced dead on the scene. Now, doctors eventually brought him back to life, but while Damar was recovering in the hospital, this became the biggest story in the world as everybody wanted some answers. Until eventually, his survival was now something fans everywhere wanted to support. Once Damar finally got out, this led to his life being celebrated like never before, him becoming more famous than ever. And that helped the jerseys that he'd worn up to that point become so popular that there weren't just other NFL stars wanting to wear it. The jersey became the biggest seller on the internet when fans bought so many that sales instantly reached a total of $400,000. And all that money was about to go to a good cause, so all Damar could be was thankful, because every single penny of it was eventually donated to the foundation Damar started that helps underprivileged kids succeed in sports. Man, I'm just glad the NFL community was able to turn such a scary situation into something positive. But alright, I'm not crying. You are. So let me lighten your mood a bit with 3 different NFL players' jerseys that all became worth $1 million. Starting with the first, the Drive didn't just turn into a name for Joe Montana's craziest jersey. It also became one of the most popular phrases in NFL history. Because after leading his squad to his 2nd Super Bowl win while wearing a jersey with some of my favorite colors ever, no, look, like, I'm always rocking colors like that. Anyways, years later, when Joe was preparing for his next Super Bowl, his wife apparently pulled the jersey out, then packed it in his bag with a note that said, maybe you want to wear it again. She must have thought it was good luck. And apparently, so did Joe. That's why he had it on when the world watched him run out for the biggest game of his career again. Now, even though Joe played well all game long in it, his team was still down by 3 points and had to go 92 yards with just about 3 minutes left. Otherwise, they'd lose, and the jersey was not good luck after all. Then with the game on the line, Joe started driving downfield like his jersey gave him superpowers. Joe completed pass after pass until he eventually got his team all the way down to the red zone with barely any time remaining. Then, with one more throw, touchdown, game over, and becoming a champion once again made his jersey more than historic. Because he wore it during that legendary drive, it became known as the Drive jersey, and wasn't just talked about all over the news. It was eventually sold to one of his biggest fans for $1.2 million. Now, that's just crazy that someone would pay basically the same amount for that jersey as another player's jersey that saved someone's life. At first, life was amazing when Devon Still had his daughter Leah by his side when he was drafted, and she eventually loved watching her dad accomplish his dream in his new NFL jersey. But a few years later, when Leah was just 4 years old, shocking news hit the family when she was diagnosed with neuroblastoma, a rare form of cancer that only gave her a 50% chance of survival.
What scares you the most?
I don't want to lose my daughter, and it scares me to death that she has a chance of not being here.
And Devon being emotional about the situation instantly made football fans send waves of support to his family. From even opponents' fans holding up encouraging signs, to other teams' cheerleaders wearing Devon's jersey to support her. There was even a celebrity who wore his jersey on TV and donated $10,000 towards his daughter's recovery. But none of that meant as much as when the NFL announced that they were donating all the money from his jersey sales to childhood cancer research, and sales skyrocketed. A different team's coach bought 100 of them himself, and fans across the world bought so many jerseys that it didn't just become the highest selling jersey in team history. They ended up raising over $1.25 million, all because of that jersey, man. And thankfully that money went to helping her and many other kids. Because that didn't just help Leah recover enough to go back to her dad's games, she eventually became completely cancer-free and is now healthy to this day. Wow, shout out to the NFL, shout out to the fans, shout out to everybody. But not every $1 million jersey has a happy ending. Because Tom Brady's most valuable jersey came from the moment that ended his career. When Brady matched up with the Cowboys in the playoffs, everyone's eyes were on him as he warmed up in his jersey because nobody knew how much time the old man had left. Especially during the game after he went down 6-0, Brady not only threw a rare interception in the end zone that killed his team's momentum, it led to him going down 24-0. Now, he did try making a comeback by scoring 2 late touchdowns, but it was too late. After such a crushing loss, people had no idea if Brady would even return to football. And unfortunately, not long after, he made an announcement to retire. So that jersey from his final game became something everybody had to have. Because it wasn't just the last jersey that he ever wore on a field. It was actually from the most embarrassing playoff game of his entire career, which honestly never happens, so that made it even more rare. That's why as soon as the jersey hit the auction block, it turned into the most expensive Brady jersey ever when it sold for $1.4 million. Man, all I can say is, at least Brady's jersey didn't get him sent to court again. Because sometimes players can get sued for millions of dollars, like what happened to Marvin Harrison Jr. and his jerseys. I mean, who would have thought that when he got drafted and held up an NFL jersey for the first time, or stepped on the field wearing this, that it would turn into one of the wildest jersey controversies in in sports history. But all along while he played in the field, a 10-month-long legal battle was taking place, all because of the sports company fanatics wanting things like autographs, game-worn merch, sports cards, fanatic event appearances, like they did for other athletes, but from Marvin Harrison Jr. While he was playing in college, he signed with them not knowing the repercussions, because they were about to pay him over $1 million just to fulfill what I talked about, and most importantly, to allow them to exclusively sell all of Marvin's NFL jerseys. But he never wanted to fulfill any of those obligations, so they accused him of fraud and held his jerseys hostage. Because of this deal, the authentic jerseys that he wore could not be sold or bought by anybody on earth, because he now wasn't even signed to any NFL licensing agreement either. So this had fans customizing their own fake jerseys of him because no site would allow a purchase. Regardless, Marvin kept wearing his jerseys on the field, obviously, while lawyers battled in the courtroom over a contract that he apparently never agreed with, until eventually, fanatics gave him a secret agreement behind the scenes, which ended the legal issue, and eventually led to his jerseys finally being released online, even though his holdout and scandal apparently lost fanatics, quote, millions of dollars. God, a price like that over a jersey situation hurts my head because, I mean, it pretty much makes no sense. So, we just cannot end things like that. Because the crown for most expensive jersey goes to, drumroll please, duh, Patrick Mahomes. His jersey is something only one person in the world can own. And something that special came from some of the first times that Mahomes touched an NFL field. He wore his iconic Chiefs red jersey in a few preseason games, which, as we've all come to know by now, ended up becoming legendary pieces of history. Because years later, after turning into arguably the biggest NFL star ever, his first jersey eventually became part of an NFL card that made headlines. This rookie card of his wasn't just signed by Mahomes himself. It was the only one of its kind in the world, which made it have 101 engraved into the side. And the best part was that the card even had the NFL Shield logo, which was cut right off of his jersey that he was wearing on the card. This piece of cardboard was so crazy that even Mahomes was tweeting about it, because his jersey inside helped it become the most expensive football card ever sold in history, when it sold for over $4 million. 4.3 million all on a jersey? And well, wait a minute. Did you hear that? Is that a... Oh yeah, it is! Here's where I'm going next, man. And lucky for you, you can come too. Pause. Just click this before I say anything else wild, man. Click it.